All right, today I'm really excited about this one. We're watching a program called Birds in Your Backyard. I got my backyard window right here. I got birds right out there. I love looking at them all the time. Not while I'm watching these, of course, but other times I love seeing birds in my backyard. I try to learn all the species, so this should be hopefully a very enjoyable watch. I will be a little jealous if they see more birds than I see, but I will appreciate that at the same time. And this is by the Arthur Barr Films. I've never watched a program by Arthur Barr before, so this should be interesting. And this was made sometime in the 60s. I guess nobody knows quite when, but this should be interesting. Birds in Your Backyard. This is definitely me coded. So let's get into it. Let's dive in, right? Oh yeah, there you go. Birds in your backyard. All right, so we got a mourning dove and we got a hummingbird. I know I just said that I'm very familiar, but I don't actually know the names of the hummingbirds. Hummingbirds are very rare, but I did actually see a hummingbird in my backyard yesterday, so that's on me. That's on me, I guess. But I do know the mourning dove. That's at least half credit. An Arthur Barr production. All right, there we go. And that sound that we're all hearing, that is the mourning dove, by the way. I know there are people who recognize that sound, and that if you didn't know, that is the mourning dove that makes that sound. This is me right here. This is actually who I want to be. This kid just crawling in the dirt, like, yes, that's me, yes. I don't want to tell you guys that I prefer greens over any of the other colors because they're all interesting subjects, but which one of these actually like fits me better? Totally the greens. I am such a greenie. I'm trying to figure out what sort of birds these are. Obviously, they're just fledglings, or maybe not even fledglings yet. But like, I can't tell. No, birds are difficult. Like birds rarely actually look like themselves when they're this young. But what's funny is last year, not this year, but last year, a robin built a nest on my house in front of a window, and I actually did pretty much this. I peeped on their little chicks as they grew up the whole time. So already, like, yes, this is again just very much me already.
For several days, Richard and Billy have been watching these baby mockingbirds.
Mockingbirds, okay, so they're mockingbirds. Interesting. That's funny because, like, yeah, I don't even know what a mockingbird looks like. I think that's more of like a southern bird. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure it's more southern.
Sometimes, when they keep very still, the boys see one of the parent mockingbirds bring food to the babies.
Maybe I have seen one of these. Yeah, I'm not that familiar with every single bird that flies by, but, I do pay attention to the birds, so I think I've seen much. The birds that I was looking at last year, those were robins. Robins are incredibly common, but like mockingbirds, those are a bit rarer. I like that the mom is just like staring at all her hungry children, like not doing anything, not reacting, just staring at them, like screaming at her. I have to wonder if this sound effect is accurate. Like, obviously, I don't think this is the original sound, but did they get the sound of like a baby bird squealing, or is this just like another sort of sound that I wouldn't expect? I don't know.
This young mockingbird has finally grown big enough to leave the nest.
Hit it? This does not look old enough of a bird to be flying yet.
Richard thinks he is a cute little fellow.
We have to understand that this entire like story between the kids and the birds watching the kids, or the kids watching the birds, is totally staged. Like these birds are like in a complete different place than these kids, right? Like the cameraman isn't switching between the kids and the birds, right? Like somebody is filming these birds like at one point in time, and then somebody else filmed these kids in the forest at another point in time in a different place, Like these aren't related stories, they're just being edited to make us think they are. Or at least that's what I think. Maybe they are, but like I really don't think so. Yeah, this bird doesn't look quite old enough to fly. Like it doesn't have its feathers on its head quite yet. So I don't know. Maybe mockingbirds fly early, but like, I don't know. It doesn't look ready to me.
Richard and Billy have had so much fun watching the baby birds that they have decided to make a feeding tray to attract more birds to their yard.
Dude, America in the 1960s, kids actually not only not only enjoy watching birds, but actually have the carpentry skills to build a feeding thing on their own. Like they don't even need their parents. Like there's just two kids with planks of wood and a saw. Like how did they get the wood? I don't know. Like they must have bought it. Like imagine these two kids going into like Home Depot. Did they even have Home Depot back then? Maybe they just had like a sawmill like that you had to go to and buy planks straight from the sawmill. That's probably how they got it. But like it's just like I no kid nowadays is going to build their own like bird feeder. Like that's that's very much part of the character of the children of the 1960s and not part of the character of the children of the 2020s for sure. Like no kids are doing this now. Or at least again that's my perception.
A smooth, flat board will make a good feeding tray. Richard is putting a rim around the tray so food will not fall off.
Dude, it's these extra little touches, right? Richard putting on a little thing so that the food doesn't fall off. Like, these kids are just not the same as kids are nowadays. Like, I can't imagine. Obviously, this has got to be staged, right? Like, these are kids that are being directed by adults to do this thing. These are not kids that are just super motivated on their own. But I have to imagine that the adults telling these kids to do this, did so with the understanding that like kids would do stuff like this. So like I have to imagine this is some degree of adults telling kids to do what they imagine kids would be doing. So I don't know. It's tough to know how accurate this is to the actual people of the time and whether or not kids would actually engage in something like this or not. But like, I like to think that it is. I like to think that kids would do activities and crafts like this on their own to the benefit of nature all the way back in the 60s. It's hard to believe, but I want to believe.
Billy is a good helper. By working together, they will soon have the tray finished.
What's their relationship? Is Billy like the little brother? Or are they friends? It seems like if they're friends, like Billy is just being like the servant and this kid, Richard is getting to do everything. Like, I don't know. But if he's the little brother, then I get it, you know? Like they didn't explain it. They just said these two kids. They don't look the same age is the thing. How old are they even? Like this kid who's hammering, is he like 11, 10 maybe? And how old is Billy? Like 8 or 9 maybe? Hang on, so they made a feeding tray. So I'm not really familiar with this form of feeding birds. Are they just going to put bird feed just on the tray and just let birds land on it? I guess. I don't even know if you need a feeding tray. Like you could just throw seed on the ground and they'll pick it up too.
The boys have a post ready for their feeding tray.
Oh, a post. Interesting. So they're going to put it up high. Maybe that would be nice for birds. Oh, it'll keep them away from predators, that's for sure. Like cats.
It will hold the tray high enough to protect the birds from cats.
Oh, no way. I love when I do that. That's so funny. Maybe I should make one of these because I definitely have cats and they definitely are attracted to the birds and the birds are definitely attracted to my pond. So we haven't had any bird catches. We've actually had one, but yeah, maybe I should build something like this then.
And is close to shrubs and trees where the birds can find shelter.
It's so funny that this is how people used to make bird feeders, you know, like nowadays bird feeders are totally different. Like this, first off, this is not squirrel proof at all. This is what you made is a squirrel feeder that birds can eat at sometimes.
There. Now the tray is ready for some food.
I like that it just took like one nail. Like that's all it needs. Like I guess birds aren't that heavy. It doesn't need to be that secure, but like just one, boom, I'm done. Like I guess that is a kid logic as well, right? Like it just needs one. It's there. It's fine. What are they putting in there though? Just like seeds?
Birds eat seeds, nuts, dry breadcrumbs, and crackers.
Hang on, seeds and nuts, are those the same thing? I unrelated, but seeds and nuts, I can't figure out what the difference is in my head.
Fruit is a special treat.
Interesting. I wonder what birds are gonna go for the apple. I don't know. I feel like most birds would go for the seeds. I was gonna say maybe a hummingbird, but no. Hummingbirds pollinate through flowers. They wouldn't just eat an apple. They don't even have the beak to eat an apple. Maybe they can lick it. They'll lick the sugar coming off the apple. Again, just in terms of editing, I love that we just got to watch this kid break down his ladder and carry it off screen. Like, we didn't need to see that shot at all for the story purpose or anything, but we got it anyway because the kid actually did it and they got it on camera, so they wanted to show us, like, they just, they had it on film, they had to show it to us. Okay, hang on. So yeah, we got some mourning doves, we've got some maybe sparrows or something. Pretty much, this looks like every bird you'll ever see in North America. Maybe I shouldn't have hyped up myself for being able to identify birds and can't even identify these little guys. They must be some sort of sparrow or something. See, no one's eaten the apple though.
Richard and Billy have...
I wonder if we'll see any purple martins. I wonder if this is in an area that can attract a purple martin. That would be real cool to see some cross program pollination.
Observed that several different kinds of birds have come to their feeding tray.
Now I'm curious, are these birds real birds? Like, obviously they're real birds, but like, is this staged? Did somebody bring their birds to this feeder so that they could film this? Or did they wait for there to just be birds at this feeder and then film it? Like, obviously that seems like the easier thing to do. But sometimes with productions like these, you really want to get the shots that you want to get. So sometimes you force them to happen. Sometimes you glue a dove's feet to the bird feeder for as long as it takes to get the shot,
And they want to know their names. So they have borrowed a library book.
Oh, that's so funny. Is this a Peterson's Field Guide? If this is a Peterson's Field Guide, that's a pat on the back for me. All right, guys? Peterson's Field Guide. This looks like a Peterson's Field Guide. It says Field Guide. Oh, I can't read the rest. Something birds. It's probably like North American birds or something. Field Guide, Western birds. Field Guide, Western birds. Okay, they must be in California. Yeah, a lot of these old programs are filmed in California. Even though they look like Eastern U.S., a lot of the time they're in California. So they're looking for Western birds. Interesting. So yeah, they're definitely in the West. Or maybe they're just using the absolute wrong book. I don't know.
Book with colored pictures to help them learn the names of the birds that have come to their yard. The mourning dove.
The mourning dove, yeah, I already called that, but that's also like one of the most common birds anywhere. Like, you gotta know mourning dove if you're from around here.
Is easy to match with his picture because of his coloring and size.
Yeah, if any of you didn't know what these birds are called, but now you do, like, that's I'm happy for you guys, because like these birds really are everywhere in this part of the country, and I guess on the other side of the country too.
The house finch is much smaller.
Ah, they're finches. All right, that makes sense.
And the male has a red head and breast.
Oh, yeah, we do have these. See, that's the thing, is I can't really tell the color of anything, so, like, I can't even tell that it has a red head. But, yeah, we definitely have these house finches, too. Oh, yeah, these guys? I would definitely have these guys as well. I don't know what they're called.
They can name the male English sparrow.
English sparrow. Okay, yeah, so we are dealing with sparrows, too. I did say sparrows a second ago, so I will count that as credit towards me. Ew, are these big nuts or are these big poops in the bin? They must be nuts, right? Because bird poop doesn't look brown like that, but I don't know. They look like nuggets of something in that seed.
Because of his brown head and back and black throat. The boys are happy because so many birds have come to the tray to eat.
Honestly, yeah, like same. Like, this would be so sick if you actually made this tray and attracted all these birds. Like, I'd be happy with this too if I were a kid. Oh wow, the little birds are eating the apples. See, I just really did not think that would happen. Wow.
They have observed that different kinds of birds eat together peacefully.
Until the blue jays show up. The blue jays like to kick everyone out. Yeah, that sound, all the sounds that the mourning dove makes is just like deeply ingrained in my mind. Like the sound of it flying away too. Like, yeah, I've heard that a million times.
But the blue jay wants
The blue jay, I'm so glad I guessed it. The blue jay. That's how you guys know I actually also have a bird feeder, because I know the blue jays kick all the birds out. That's so funny. That is a pat on the back for sure. I called, like, the fact that I knew what bird was going to kick all the other birds out, like, that's so funny. Oh my God. What's funny is that the blue jays have not changed. In all the years since this was made, blue jays are still the assholes of the bird feeder.
the tray all to himself.
And what's crazy is, like, I've never seen a blue jay actually, like, attack another bird. They just scare them all away. Like, I don't know if they will do that. Like, I don't know if their presence implies that they will be violent towards the other birds, but, like, they always get their way. So it's interesting. I have a blue jay couple living right up there. They're always out there. And they interact with the other birds. I actually watch them. They, with the robins and everything, they don't seem, enemies. So I don't know why all the birds are scared of them, but it is interesting that for whatever reason the blue jays always get to dine alone.
Every day the boys put fresh food on the tray, because now the birds depend on them for food.
Yeah, that is like the one aspect of bird feeders that might not be so great, is just training birds to just only go to the easiest sources of food and then having them rely on that, and then, I don't know, getting lazy and not filling up the bird feeder and then causing the birds to starve because they have no actual instinct for collecting food because they've all been given easy food their whole lives. Like, I don't know. I do think bird feeders are fun, but there is an ethical question behind bird feeders as well that I feel like we all know the answer to deep down.
Today, Richard has a piece of meat fat to leave on the tray.
A piece of meat fat? Is that just like solidified fat? What is that? It looks like an actual piece of meat. Okay. Dang, that's crazy. Birds are just ripping up this piece of meat fat? Interesting. I would not have guessed birds to eat that either. And it's just, what sort of bird is this? It's not either of those other two birds. It's not a sparrow or a finch, so... Or it could be, but it's not the same type. I know there are some actual bird people watching this that are just like screaming at me for not knowing like the most common of birds, like backyard birds, but like, I don't know, I guess I just don't. These are Western birds. That's my excuse, all right? This is in California, presumably. Like, I don't need to know all of the Californian birds. If this were on the East Coast, maybe I'd be doing a little bit better. That's what I'm like, the Western birds, like all I'm basing that off of is the book that those kids were reading, but like I like to think that was at least accurate.
Richard and Billy have bought a special feeder at the pet store to attract hummingbirds to their yard.
Yeah, I actually have these plants. I think they might be some kind of azalea, maybe not. I don't know. I don't know exactly what sort of flowers they are, but there's one bush that flowers like crazy this time of year. It's flowering right now, and that's how I saw a hummingbird. And that's my hummingbird feeder. But I have a neighbor that has a hummingbird feeder like this nearby, and their house is always swarmed with hummingbirds. Hummingbirds are nuts, by the way. If you've never seen a hummingbird in the wild, like, they're the weirdest little things. They feel like fairies because they like float and they travel so fast, and they really do feel like fairies. But it's so interesting to see that people were already into feeding them all the way back in the 60s. Like, it felt like a modern thing to me to see a hummingbird feeder, but I guess not. It's also really cool that we're getting to see this hummingbird drink from this, and actually, because it's a clear straw, we're getting to see what it's doing. Like, it's licking up the liquid and the liquid is diminishing. It's just interesting. It's a good shot. This is a really impressive shot. Like, you're actually getting the level of the liquid going down. Like, yeah, like, that's impressive. You got a good action shot right there. And look at the bird. It's just hovering. Like, that's what I'm saying. Hummingbirds are nuts.
They mix 1 measure of sugar with 3 measures of water to make food for the feeder.
That is also crazy that like that's all hummingbirds eat is just literal sugar. Like how do they get like any sort of nutrition? I have to imagine the nectar from plants has some sort of nutrition, but I can't imagine all hummingbirds are eating is sugar water, right? There has to be other sorts of nutrients. Maybe no, there has to be, right? Like I don't know. They're just putting like red food dye in it.
Red food coloring will
Yeah, there you go. I love that. I love that.
will make the sugar water easier to see.
I wonder if that like actually helps the hummingbird at all. Like I have to imagine not. Maybe, I don't know, because they do like the red flowers and everything. So maybe the red color does help attract them. It's actually like way smaller of a feeder than I thought. I thought the feeder was like this tall. That's so funny, they don't even screw it in. It's just like a plastic cork. These are some really cool shots though, I will give them that. Like this is really good hummingbird footage right here. Like I can't say anything else.
Have you ever been this close to a hummingbird?
Honestly, the other day, I wasn't going to tell you guys this story, but the other day, I walked out in my backyard and a hummingbird, I swear to God, a hummingbird flew like right there next to me. Like I felt its wings like on my ear. I almost walked straight into it and it dodged around me, but it almost flew straight into my head. And I have gotten this close to a hummingbird at least once before, very recently actually, but not like this. I've never gotten a view like this. Like this is still very special photography that we're getting to see here. And I really hope that me talking has just drawn out the photography that you all have gotten to watch this clip like several times by now. Oh, well, see, like this bird, definitely do not know. Like, I have never seen a bird like this. But that's funny because I know the birds I've seen and the birds I haven't seen. I do not know what kind of bird this is.
Sometimes a beautiful oriole visits them.
It's an oriole? Damn it, I have seen orioles, actually. That's funny. I've actually only ever seen one oriole, and I had to look up what it was. But that's how I know it was an oriole, because I looked it up. Oh. But all right, here's my excuse. The color of this, Orioles are orange. Like they are definitely orange. And to me, this looks yellow. So I don't know. Maybe that's a weak excuse, but like, sorry, I didn't know it was an Oriole, okay? I feel like some of my audience knew this was an Oriole though, and I didn't. Was that true? Did some of you guys know that before I did even? I bet some of you did. Dude, that's so funny that it's drinking from the hummingbird feeder though. That's like a display of intelligence for sure. Like this bird figured out how to drink for another bird, you know, like it's using its beak in a means that it wasn't meant for necessarily. Maybe it was, I don't know. Do orioles also pollinate flowers with their tongue? I don't know. That's interesting that more than one sort of bird can drink from that. Because to me, like hummingbirds eat in such a specific way that like for another bird with a very different sort of beak to also be able to eat from the same sort of feeder, that's just from an ecological standpoint, that's very interesting.
What are Richard and Billy doing now? They have a bird bath.
Oh my God, I'm so dumb. Yeah, I could have guessed that.
And every day they clean the bowl.
See, I don't have a bird bath, but I did dig a pond, and the birds love bathing in the pond. I actually just built a waterfall for the pond, but the birds don't like that very much.
And fill it with fresh water.
But the robins that laid the eggs, actually, I think they came here because they knew I had a pond, and then they laid eggs on my house. But the robins for sure bathe in my pond like every day. And there's a pair, there's the male and the female. I wonder, like, if this is somebody's business, though, right? Like, if you got a ton of bird baths that you gotta sell, like, you gotta just start teaching kids, like, that birds like to take baths, you know? Like, that's how you increase the demand. If you got the supply and there's zero demand, you make a program like this, educate people on birds in their backyards, and then maybe you start selling more product. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's just the wrong part of my mind thinking now. Dude, look at this garden. What an interesting, like, home garden. I don't really recognize any of these plants. This totally must be, like, Fresno, California or something. Like, I swear half of these old programs were filmed in Fresno, California.
Birds need water all year long. Sometimes they come to the bird bath to drink. And sometimes they come to bathe.
It's just funny that this shot, I know I'm going to talk about camera work a little more, but like it wasn't centered in the beginning, and we can just see the camera slowly trying to center this bird in its shot now. But like, why wasn't the bird feeder or the bird bath centered to begin with? I guess like at the end of that shot, it did end up in the center. It must be difficult to film animals like this.
Uh-oh, what do the boys see now? Some flickers that lit.
The other day, I saw a dead bird on the side of the road, and it was a flicker, and I never had seen a flicker before. Flickers are like kind of woodpeckers. They have these red heads. They're very beautiful, and they're very big. And I looked it up, and I learned about flickers for the first time. So it's interesting to be seeing flickers again so soon after seeing the one on the side of the road. It's just, I don't know, I feel like the universe tried to prepare me for this moment somehow. It would have been cool if I watched this beforehand, and then I saw the flicker, and then I was able to recognize it from this. But I guess here we are doing it in the reverse order.
In the nest box, the boys hung in a tree.
Again, pretty impressive footage of like this bird. I mean, I guess you know where it's gonna be, so you can film it. But like, did this bird really live in these kids' backyard birdhouse? Like, or did they bring a bird to film this all? You know, like I still don't know. Like, this could all be staged, you know? It feels like it is. It feels too perfect that they just have a flicker living in this birdhouse on their property. Like, somebody had to have brought their flicker from home and put it in here or something.
The hungry young flickers are waiting to be fed.
Yeah, look at these. These are very interesting birds, for sure. It's hard to see why because of the film, but if you see one in person, trust me, you'll be impressed. It's just like that red. That red is like crazy bright. You can barely see it now, though. This is so funny, though, that they peek their heads out of the hole of the birdhouse. Like, these must be pretty big baby birds to be doing that.
The flickers are interesting birds, but the boys enjoy watching all of the birds they have attracted to their yard. Wouldn't you like to attract birds to your yard?
Yes, I would.
Any shallow bowl will make a good bird bath if you keep it filled with clean water.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, though, is like when you have cats that do sometimes go outside, attracting birds to your property as well can kind of just be a bit of a bloodbath. So, like, you either have to have outdoor cats or bird feeders. You shouldn't have both. It's kind of inconsiderate to have both. Or maybe it's a lot of fun for your cats, but it is not good for the birds if you put a feeder where there's going to be cats.
A hummingbird feeder will attract several kinds of birds.
Is this another one of those finches? It looks like it has a red head too. That's so funny how multiple, like not even just two beaks. Like this bird also has a much more broad beak than even the oriole had, but he's also still able to feed off of that. That's just, again, ecologically speaking, that's interesting. Like here we are, we learned about Darwin's finches on this channel. Like I know you all know Darwin's finches by now. So like that's something, there's something to be said about that,
And you can keep a feeding tray filled with seeds, dry breadcrumbs, and fruit. What kinds of birds will come to your backyard?
You know, I am kind of disappointed we didn't get any shout outs for the cardinal. I feel like that is another classic American backyard bird. The bright red cardinal, like everyone knows cardinals. Like you, even if you don't care about birds, you've seen the bright red cardinals. So I don't know, maybe they don't have cardinals in California, but like I feel like we should have seen them because cardinals also do frequent bird feeders and they're a lot nicer than blue jays. They definitely get along with everyone better. So I don't know, maybe they don't have them in California though. I genuinely do not know. Oh, and that's the end. Nice. Kind of just an easy, soft ending. No fanfare at that ending. We just kind of calmly drifted off into bird song and then ended. I do appreciate that. No credits though. That is a little unfortunate. I mean, I guess we got what Arthur Barr as the film producer, but did he film it all and narrate it and edit it? Like, I don't know. Maybe he did. Like, this is possible for one person to do. Trust me. Like, I've made videos more complicated than this before, but I don't know. I don't know if people had all those skills back then. So I wanted to see the credits. Yeah, I wanted to see the camera operator and give him, my thanks. So I don't know. That's a little sad that there's no credits, but interesting all the rest. All right, now it's time for me to come up with some final thoughts. So this was a very fun little video. I honestly am a little disappointed we didn't get to see like even more birds. Like I know we got to see a whole bunch, but like I was really hoping this was just going to be like a list of all the birds in your backyard. Like pretty much I wanted it to be this book just in film form. Which I guess it wasn't, but that's fair. I guess that's understandable why it wasn't. I think this was really good though. This is encouraging kids to be interested in the environment, to help the environment and to, build relationships with things other than humans. I do very much appreciate what we are trying to teach our children through programs like this, to actually, for them to appreciate nature, for them to be able to recognize the beauty and like the worthiness of nature and not just, want to destroy it. It's actually special to see kids enjoying birds for their own self-worth rather than like for their food worth or how much fun they were to shoot with a gun. Like before this time period, people would just hunt birds and kill them all the time just to eat, because they needed to. So what we're seeing here is the beginning of the shift in the mindset of the American people towards birds and what you do with them. Like nowadays, birds are a thing that you see in your backyard and everyone has bird feeders because it's a very common thing. But obviously it doesn't seem like that used to be the case. Obviously people needed to be taught to build bird feeders and to have bird houses and whatnot. So I very much appreciate what this program was trying to accomplish within the American, consciousness. They were trying to introduce the idea of birding to America pretty much. They were trying to get Americans interested in ornithology, in, nature, in the outdoors, in pretty much the environment. So I do very much appreciate that. The number one way to get people to care about the environment is to have them connect with it. So I do very much appreciate them using children for this as well, because children are obviously the best subjects for doing this because they haven't formed harsh opinions about the environment already. So I do very much appreciate educating your children on environmentalism in any sense that takes. So I do very much appreciate what I just watched right here. And if you did as well and you would like to support me in my goal of watching all of these, you can follow the link in the description that'll take you over to the Internet Archive. The Internet Archive is where I get all these old programs from. So if you want to support me, donate to them. And with that, I think we're ready to cut to black.